What's going on, Trade Pros? This is Mark from TRADEPRO Academy, and in this weekend's video I'm going to be discussing a recent pullback trade example and how you guys can use order flow to qualify a strong pullback trade opportunity. We're going to roll the intro and get right into it. All right, Trade Pro. So here we are on my Sierra chart platform. The asset you see in front of you is the ES, or on CQG EP, June 2021 contract. Do a quick run through of my screen here. This left-hand chart is a 10-tick range bar chart. Bottom left here is a 5-tick range bar chart. All right. On the right-hand side, front and center, this is the footprint chart. This is one of the order flow tools we love to use here at TRADEPRO Academy. And on the right-hand side here, this is the heat map, another great order flow tool that we love to use here at TRADEPRO Academy. Now, on the left-hand side, you will likely see that the range bar charts, they come quite common across most charting platforms. However, the charts on the right-hand side of the screen, being the footprint and the heat map, these are order flow specific tools. And so only if the platform offers access to order flow tools can you get access to such charts. So now that we've kind of got that out of the way, you guys are familiar with what we're looking at. Let's talk about the pullback. All right, so what makes a good pullback trade? So similar to our last video on the breakout, let me get the pen tool and walk you guys through some of the things I love to look for as it relates to pullback trades. So first and foremost, I want to see a good trend. All right. I want to see good order flow, good directional bias. All right. So in the case, if I'm looking to get long on a pullback trade, I want to see strong bullish behavior. All right. In the case where I'm looking to get short on a pullback, I want to see strong bearish behavior. And what do I mean by that? Simply higher highs and higher lows in a bull case. In a bear case, lower lows and lower highs. Pretty fundamental stuff. All right. And so that is the first thing that I want to see. The second thing I want to see on a potential pullback is that we've just created a new high above a prior structure. So what I love to look for number two is flip zones, right? Flip zones, support, turned resistance, etc. However you kind of want to call it. Flip zone is basically what I like to look for. So in the case of a bull trend, all right, I want to see a prior resistance get broken above, all right? And on the way back down, I like to use that level as potential support. All right. And so on bullish pullbacks, that's effectively what I'm looking for. On bearish pullbacks, I'm looking for a level that's been holding as support to be broken and then retested as resistance for the continuation move. All right. And we're effectively looking to capture that continuation move that you see here. All right. So first two, just to summarize, number one, strong lead and trend, good directional bias. All right. Higher highs, higher lows. Lower lows, lower highs in the case of bears, right? Number two, I want to see a prior top having been broken convincingly to the upside, being retested as support for a potential long trade. On the downside, I want to see a support be broken through and retested as resistance on the bear side. Now, these are pretty basic images, all right? Not all market movements are going to be this basic, all right? The market structure definitely takes on different variances. However, if you kind of zoom out on the long picture, this is effectively what we're looking for, all right? Whether it's a simple pullback and it goes, whether it's a break of a prior zone, retest, a double bottom, there's a lot of different variations of the patterns we're looking for. However, the primary concept is a break and retest of a prior resistance or support zone, which should now flip and act as the opposite of what it did before it was broken. Right. So that is number two. And then number three, what you generally like to look for on once the market gets back into a level of interest, you want to see price action suggest that the underlying trend is back in play. All right. So in the case of a bullish pullback, what you want to see is momentum from the sellers fading out, and then signs of bullish reversals vis-a-vis candles, and volume are primarily the two biggest ones. All right. So as it relates to standard, technical analysis using the general charts that most people have available to them, those are the three things you would generally look for to qualify a pullback trade. Number one, strong directional trend. Number two, prior top or bottom broken and retested. And number three, you want to see counter trend momentum starting to fade out. And now you've got those three things with traditional technical analysis. Having access to these order flow charts lets us add in some more qualifiers. All right. And so from the perspective of order flow, all right, you also get the ability to look inside of these candles. And so what we like to look for in order flow in order to qualify these trades is we like to see aggressive selling coming into that level that we're interested in, and the sellers being unable to break the market any lower, followed by signs of a bullish demand coming in, and we can see all of that on order flow. The other thing, number 5, that you can use as a qualifier is also the heat map. All right, so on the heat map, what will generally happen is as we get into the level, offers that are going to be up above, they're going to be getting closer to price. All right, trying to push price lower. And what we often see is the offers come close to price and then they start to cancel, remove themselves higher, and bids on the bottom side, bid inventory shows up at that level and start inching closer to the market price. All right, and so those two additional qualifiers on top of your traditional qualifiers using your regular charts, candlestick charts, or tick charts gives you an added advantage as a trader. All right. And so in this example, we are going to discuss a long pullback opportunity. And so I've got the replay function enabled here. We're going to go ahead and get started. All right. So first and foremost, what is the trend at this point in the day? Well, on this chart, all right, the open was right around here. The market kind of had a little bit of an opening drive test. We failed off of that level. Market sold off. And then since that sell off, you can see basically strong V bottom got us back above that original level. Right. And so this is why I've got a zone marked out here, is because that was a big prior resistance. And you can see we've broken up above that with some good momentum. So number 1 is qualified. We do have a nice direction. All right. Number 2, do we have a prior top that was broken? If we're looking for a bullish trend, yes, we do. This prior top was broken. All right. And then number 3, we're looking for sellers to start waning out as they get back into our zone. So we're going to have to see some bullish price action, which we don't have just quite yet. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and run this replay. Let me drag the chart back up and let's go ahead and get started with this example. All right, so I'm going to press play here and we should get everything popping in perfect. So what we're effectively looking for here, the first sign of a qualifier for a pullback is we want the market to reach into our zone. And you can see that zone overlaid on my footprint chart right down in here, right? So what I'm looking for as the market comes down into my level is I want to see signs of bullishness. So I want to see a bullish reversal on the 10 tick. That's going to be the first sign of qualification. All right. So as it stands, you can see the market has come into my zone. All right. There is some bid and offer activity here. What I can do is increase this a little bit so we don't see as much. All right. So we'll do this to 229. All right, now we see a little bit less, which is perfect. Right, so at this moment, the market has come into our level, right? But order flow suggests sellers are still very much so present. That sell side momentum has not yet lost control, right? And so this is effectively what we're looking for, waiting for the sell side momentum to wane out and lose control and wait for the buyers, really the buyers to come back in. All right, and so what we're seeing here is obviously aggressive selling. All right, so we have a level of aggressive selling and just above that, another level of aggressive selling. And so what we're anticipating here based off of order flow is that the sellers are going to defend these levels and try to push the market lower. And the signal for us here to qualify this pullback trade is if they reload at these levels and cannot break the market any lower. That is really what gets us interested, because that tells us we have some late shorts in this case at the market and their buy stops are, potential target. So Market's still rotating here. It's doing its own thing. We're going to let it do its thing until we get, first and foremost, a 10-tick rejection candle here. Almost done forming, not quite yet. Got to let this thing play out. At the same time, you're looking at the bids and the offers. All right, so we've got some bids showing up here, 37s to 38s, which is just kind of below where we're at. So curious to see if the sellers reload here, if we're going to take and make an attempt to come after these bids. You're also seeing some selling offers showing up at the 42s, all right, which is basically where these sell imbalances are kind of clustered, right? Those 42s. So right now you've got sellers offering the 42s and buyers bidding right around these 37s to 38s, all right? Now we've got our first 10-tick candle form, all right? So that is the first qualifier. So of the three that I mentioned with traditional technical analysis, we have the strong directional move, right? Number two, we have a prior resistance here that should now hold as support. That's two, all right? And number three, do we have a confirmation here that buyers are coming into the level? Yes, we do. We have a bullish rejection here at the zone with high volume, all right? Relatively high volume. And so you can see here, the sellers are still present, all right? But we've now got that 10-tick reversal, all right? So the question here becomes, can these sellers reload at this level and push the market lower? All right, so what you're trying to do is you're actively trying to disqualify this trade. And the trade idea oftentimes comes when you're unable to disqualify that trade. So what are we looking for here? You guys know, all right, we're going to look for this market. Now that it's come back up to that reload level, these sellers are going to attempt to push this market lower. You can see we've got some bids moving a bit lower here. So not quite ready for this trade just yet. All right, we still got to wait out a little bit and really see what the market gives us around this level. All right, these buy imbalances show that there was aggressive buying at these 39s. All right, but there was still some selling that's present, and you can see that as it rotated up, sellers came back in and they're selling it aggressively again. So short-term momentum has not yet waned off of the sell side. Sellers are still in control, but we're at a key support level where we're looking to identify whether we can find longs that are getting, or rather shorts that are getting trapped, so that we can get into a potential long trade. All right, so another sell imbalance formed, right? The idea here is that sellers are still present. They got to try bringing it down here. If they can't do that, we might just have a buying opportunity. All right, so the question really becomes, can we get rid of the sellers up here? What we want to see ideally is the market can pull up here. If we get some more bullish buy imbalances, that would be quite interesting for us as potential long opportunities. For the time being, however, sellers and buyers are still fighting it out. All right, you can see this next rotation. Sellers defended that level, and so selling is still on. They're going to make an attempt here to get through these lows. All right, so you're seeing the sellers getting aggressive. There is a buyer on there. Buyer gets erased. More selling showing up. All right, as we come down into that level of bids. All right, you can see the bids slowly starting to move away. These offers that were at the 42 before, they've clustered and they're starting to move lower aggressively into price. All right, and so it's looking like we might have to disqualify this idea. However, if we get another 10-tick reversal back up, what we'll have is new sellers that have come in. And if we get this reversal back up, you might have some stuck shorts. And that's kind of what we're looking to take advantage of here. So trade has not been qualified. And this is the benefit of having order flow, because as you see this fight between the buyers and sellers, you don't really get this information on the candlestick charts or on tick charts. The only place you can really find it is on order flow charts like the footprint here. All right, so what have we got now? We had more sellers showing up, right? More sellers showing up. We've come to new lows. All right, we've come to new lows. Opening range high is kind of holding for the time being. So long trade, not ready quite yet. Like I said, if we get another bullish rejection candle, we wipe out some of this selling with buy imbalances. At that point, we can look to get on board, because at that time, all the selling momentum has tried. And, if they can't get it back below this opening range high, back below this open, we're probably going to make a continuation higher. And so that's effectively what we're waiting for. This is why patience is so important, and really understanding what you're looking for. All right, so more sellers trying to hit the book. You're seeing these offers moving down to the 40s. Right, so majority of these offers are sat between the 40s and 42s. Now you're starting to see bids showing up, bids clustering, bids are moving in here. This is starting to look interesting, right? Because now we've had one test of this structure, rotates up, two tests, and now we're seeing bullish behavior coming back in. All right, so as shorts, anybody that's been shorting here, right? Even if you shorted down at these 39s, you shorted there, the market is back up to where you shorted. So you're getting a little bit worried here. All right, and so let me pause this replay right here quickly. What you've seen now, a little bit of a double bottom, right? A little bit clear on the 5 tick. You get a double bottom, nice volume, buying momentum coming through. Where are all of these shorts? All right, a majority of these shorts are basically at these 41 halves all the way down into the 38 3/4. All right, and so now that we're approaching this level, we're getting back to the level above which sellers got active. You can imagine if you sold the market down here, the market is now up at these 41s. As a seller, especially if you're a late seller, you're likely already covering. But the other side of the story here is that anybody who was selling from up top, all right, anyone who was selling up here, they have likely tightened their stops, right? As you sell, as the market moves in your direction, you are likely moving your stops lower and lower and lower, right? And so those buy stops being tightened by shorts that are in profit, combined with the fact that you had more shorts come in below the market, now the market's back above. You got these shorts are buying back to cover their positions, which is fueling this upside. And you've also got the potential for a bigger buy stop release because of shorts that got in higher above and that were trailing that market lower. So it's that culmination of trapped shorts on the lows and the buy stops being closer to the price, which results in the release of the upside. All right. And so this does not necessarily mean we're in a trade just yet. But what I do love to see here is the fact that where majority of this selling happened on the way back up, we're seeing a buy imbalance. So what I want to see here is if we get another rotation, if we do not get all the way back down, and if we do in fact hold this rotation with a bullish or a green candle, then we can look to set some limits for a continuation up higher. All right, and so let's see what the market gives us here. Let me go ahead, press play. All right, so more buy imbalances showing up where those sellers got active. So here comes a rotation. Let's see if it can hold this buy imbalance at these 40s. All right, and if we get a green rotation, that's where we can look to set some limits. So 40s to 40/4 is that level. All right, what we do not want to see is this thing just flush right back down. We want to see it hold this level because that's going to tell us that sellers are actually covering, buying back their position, and we've got a potential buy stop release in play. So a lot of waiting. This is where patience comes into play. All right, and if this rotation closes this way, we can look to set limits 40, 40/4, even the 39 3/4. All right, there we go. So 40/4, 40, 39 3/4. Stops here are below the lows. All right, so at this point, we've qualified the trade. So we're on the footprint. All right, and so what we're looking for here is the fact that we've got sellers stuck. All right, sellers stuck below us, buy imbalance showed up. Our stops are basically back below where these sellers got stuck. So if the market rolls back over, we're going to get stopped though, because the market's likely to continue going down. But given what we've seen here in this market, in this price action, off of the 10 tick, we had that nice bullish run. We've got a pullback. A lot of sellers coming in. They can't seem to get it going any lower. This is what defines a great order flow trading opportunity. So let's see if we can get a fill on this one. All right, if we do get a fill, what I generally like to do is leave my two brackets as is and then look to run the third one. So the third one, I'm going to set up around the 46 level here. All right, and you'll see on the 10 tick chart, all right, I might have to get a little bit more aggressive here. 40 quarters, 40s, 40 halves. All right, there we go. So ideally, you know, we're still, stops are below those sellers. We're seeing these rotations holding right here. All right, so I like this idea. Like I said, first two brackets stay for the take profit. The third one, we're looking to run it up back towards the previous top, right? Because you had a strong bull trend, pullback, two attempts to go lower, can't get any lower. Now we're looking for a release of buy stops. All right, so let's see how this thing works out. You're seeing offers, right? What you want to see during the trade, you want to see these offers moving away from the price and these bids stacking and getting closer to that price. So let's see what this thing gives us, if it gives us that buy stop release or not. But now you're seeing good offers. You know, 45s, our initial take profits are just below that liquidity. And then we also have a big liquidity sitting at the 49.5, which is below, you know, our runner here is just below that level, couple of points below that. So looking to get paid on the runner into the tops and looking to get a portion of that position taken off on the initial brackets. All right, so we're seeing buy imbalances coming through, another good sign. All right, you want to see buy imbalances climbing higher as the position is, or rather as the market's moving. And the other thing you want to see is these sell imbalances getting erased. All right, so sell imbalance acting a little bit stubborn. So we can move one down, get paid on one here, just in case it can't clear. All right, let me close the order fills for the time being. All right, so we got paid on one, removed some of the risk from the position. See if we can get these 43 halves. Looks like a clear path up into those 45s now. You've also got bids moving up here. All right, second one taken off. At this point, we can move the final one to break even +1. Trail it just below these buy imbalances here. All right, trail it just below these buy imbalances and see if we can get that push into this take profit level. All right, if we see another sell imbalance come in here, we could look to take some profits, but as long as these imbalances are getting removed, that's exactly what you want to see. All right, and so that is the example, ladies and gentlemen, of the trade, how to qualify a pullback trading opportunity, utilizing order flow to give yourself some great qualifiers to identify low risk, high probability trades. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Might be a bit on the lengthier side, but if you did enjoy it, make sure to like this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. Until next time, guys, good luck and good trading. Take care.